Alright, how's it going? Back here again with another review. So yeah, if you would for me, please like, comment, subscribe on the channel. Just definitely gonna be bringing constant movie reviews. So the next movie I'm doing here is Spiral, from the Book of Saw, and this one had an interesting cast to it because this stars Chris Rock, uh, and Samuel Jackson's in here, um, as well as Max Minghella. So this is pretty much. So now this was an idea, actually, that was pitched by Chris Rock himself. So he actually had an idea for another Saw movie. He even put, I believe they credit him as a producer. I think he put his own money up to to have the movie directed and everything. So this was an interesting take, because Chris Rock, he's not known to do serious roles. He's a comedian. He's a stand-up comedian. Uh, and he's done movies too, but he's done nothing but comedic movies. So to see him do like a serious role like Saw, it was interesting. When I saw this trailer, because the movie came out in 2021, so I know I'm late reviewing it, but uh, so this was a movie I was interested to watch. Uh, Now I'm not the biggest Saw fan. I watched this with my wife. I've seen a couple Saw movies with my wife before too, and she's more of a Saw fan than I am. I'm not really a Saw fan. Uh, I think the last Saw movie I really liked, to be honest with you, were the first couple, like the first like three Saw movies. And then after that, I just felt like, since Saw was making money, they just kept pumping out Saw movies. I mean, this is the ninth Saw film. So because I'm going to review the 10th one, but so I every time I see a Saw movie, I feel like the reason why I've seen pretty much every Saw movie at this point is because I kind of feel like at this point I'm that far into my Saw movies. Like I said, I saw Jigsaw, um, and I saw the seven other Saw movies before Jigsaw. So I mean, I've pretty much seen them all at this point. I couldn't escape people who like the Saw franchise. My brother, he's a humongous fan of these movies. I'm pretty much the odd man out. I'm not a fan of Saw, and I just felt like they stretched these way too thin. So coming into this, with a comedian having an idea for a Saw movie, uh, I was thinking, okay, new direction. So let's see where this goes. So the stars, like I said, Chris Rock. He plays Detective Zeke Banks, and Ezekiel Banks, and there's there's something dark about his past, pretty much. And what this movie's trying to be is it's trying to, it has a social political commentary on like police brutality and police reform. Pretty much, that's basically what this movie's about. And that in itself, I'm just kind of like, that's really interesting. That is a really interesting take on a Saw movie. Now this is the first time Saw has gotten political. I mean, I think it was Saw 6. I think was Jigsaw was killing members of the health insurance agency. So yeah, he was basically killing people who wasn't giving out affordable health care. So this one is pretty much, this is about, like I said, police, and basically there's corruption in the police department, uh, and Jigsaw is picking off all these people, or is it Jigsaw? Could it be one of his imitators? All right, so for this to be a serious movie, you would think like somebody like Chris Rock, he's going to try to put on his serious face. And I think as far as him being a serious actor, I think he does work honestly as a serious actor. My only gripe with him at times is the jokes. He's got to stop cracking jokes. Like literally, like when this movie starts out, like it's a whole segment of him just cracking jokes. And like I mean, while it was kind of funny, it was just like it. I felt like for a Saw movie, especially with him trying to be serious, it just didn't fit. Um, you know what I'm saying? He goes to like his police chief. Um, so he goes to his police chief, really attractive lady, and he starts cracking jokes with her. And then it's the shout match back and forth between the cop and his superior. And then he's cracking jokes with his partner. This I will say this didn't feel like in a lot of ways this didn't feel like a Saw movie. Um, and I was watching a review and somebody had basically said exactly what I thought. This felt more like Seven. What there's more like Seven Light. I'll say it's Seven Light. I don't know. It felt really generic. Like it just feels like a regular. You ever watch like those like generic like cop shows like CSI or something like that, or the spin-offs like CSI Miami or Las Vegas or Nevada or whatever, or Milwaukee, whichever. This pretty much felt like that. Like this just felt like a generic police procedure, and it is a mystery too. So, like I said, Seven Light. That's what I'm gonna call it. I'm not gonna call it Seven. Seven was a good movie. Seven Light, and it's like so it's a mystery, and they're trying to figure out. They think it might be. They think it might either be Jigsaw himself or it might be a copycat, and so they're trying to figure out who it is. Now, I will say though, there were spots in the movie where I thought Chris Rock actually did a really good job in here. Um, of course, I like dark endings in movies, so this movie does have like a dark ending, and I thought it was cool. Uh, the the explanations in here are just ridiculous, man. Uh, and it like right when I think this movie is trying to do something different, I didn't really care for like I said the cop drama aspect of it as much because again it was generic. Um, you got Samuel Jackson. He shows up in here and he's really good in this. I think he's the best actor in the movie, and he basically plays like he plays Chris Rock's dad. Um, it's nepotism in a way because Chris Rock's dad is pretty much like that. He's a retired police chief, and he got pulled to basically get his son uh up to like the detective thing. So because of that, a lot of his colleagues do not like him in the department at all. They do not like Chris Rock's character. They call him an asshole. They call him jerk. All sorts of things. So like, uh, so I will say the traps in here. That's what you come for, in Saw movies, right? You come for the traps. There are traps in this movie. I don't think there are as many traps though, because I think this one is trying to tell more of a story. It's trying to focus more on its story and its mystery. Uh, but so if you're one of those people who really like Saw for the traps, I mean they're violent and they're vicious in here. Like Chris Rock or whoever wrote this, or whoever came up with those trap concepts, they're pretty violent. There are some violent traps in here. Uh, Especially one at the very beginning. It's pretty violent. Like they don't waste time, but then like there's long gaps in this movie where there are no traps at all. So it just focuses on story and dialogue and stuff like that. but the exposition in here is crazy. The exposition game in this movie is insane. And I'm not the and you guys see me complain about this before movies. I'm not the biggest fan of exposition. I'm more of a show don't tell type person. So this movie does do that. So I'll even tell you about that. So there is a cop at the beginning who does get killed. Um and and we don't know anything about this cop. We don't know the backstory. We don't know anything about this guy. We just ran into him. But then like we have a scene where once he gets killed off, Chris Rock's character, he's defeated because he's mad because he's like, I knew this guy, he took a bullet for me, he watched my kids, he did this for me. And it's like, it's stuff like that where it's like, okay, that would be more effective if we actually saw all this. It's a lazy way to get it out real quick so we could just move the plot along instead of actually developing that relationship. So that way, when that character gets killed off, we feel the same thing that Chris Rock's character is feeling. All it is just exposition dump, and then we don't really care for that character like that. It's moments like that in this movie that's frustrating, and Saw does it all the time. So that Saw I thought I give it. So I give this movie credit for trying to do something new, but then it does Saw things that I always hate Saw for. I cannot stand like it's so they the explanation to this is ridiculous. It's dumb because like I get like the Saw this I get the Saw killer is doing this police reform thing or whatever, but then they do ridiculous stuff. Like I said, with Chris Rock cracking jokes, trying to be funny and stuff like that. They do stuff like that, and then totally it just knocks the movie off. Or the moments where he's trying too hard to act like he's serious, and it's like, bro, you don't have to. Like, come on, man. But then there's times where I'm kind of with him a little bit. And then also there's the thing that bothers me about this movie too is the Saw villains. So Saw has a tendency to try to explain everything, and then once they explain everything, it doesn't make any sense. So you're like, wait a minute. So that you're gonna have to explain that a little bit more. And then once they find out even the mystery, like when that twist comes up, the twist comes up, that doesn't even make any sense because it's the thing that Saw does to stretch out the Saw movies. It's where they go like, yeah, so Jigsaw had an apprentice, and his apprentice was the one that was going around killing everybody. And it's like, bro, how many apprentices does he have? It's really like, they're like, yeah, so you remember in this Saw movie where this scene happened, but what you didn't see off camera was there was an apprentice right beside him learning his tricks. And it's like, bro, how are they getting these resources? How do they know how to build like Jigsaw does? And how do they have this large amount of time to do all this in? Like because when they show you who the killer is and his job and stuff like that, he has such a small window. Sorry, it's my stepdaughter just doing that. But yeah, so he has such a small window to do all this stuff in that once the explanation comes out, it's like, that doesn't even make any sense. So, but yeah, so I don't know. Like I said, it's this movie just frustrated me a little bit. I'm sorry. I don't know. It's a Saw movie, man. In some ways it tries to do something different, but I just feel like even the thing that it tries to do different, it doesn't feel like a Saw movie a lot of time too. Like it does, but then it doesn't feel like a Saw movie because like it just does like this generic cop crime thriller. That's kind of all it really is. Like when it boiled down to it, it's a generic buddy thriller cop movie. That's all it kind of is. until it gets that ridiculous Saw ending that they always do, because they're trying to set up for a sequel. That's pretty much all it is, man. So I don't know. I didn't really care for this one. I didn't care for this movie. This is gonna be a low recommend, and I'm only giving it that just because I'm only giving it a low recommend because like at least it tried to do something new. I don't think it worked personally. Um, like I said, Chris Rock's acting to me, like him being serious in here was a little spotty. He couldn't drop the jokes. Honestly, he was just dropping too many jokes. Samuel Jackson, I thought as far as actors go, he saved this movie really because everybody in here is generic. Like between the traps, it's just a generic movie at best. This movie's generic. Like it's just there's nothing really. There's really nothing really there that you haven't seen in like a typical crime thriller. So, yep. So this is a low recommend. Um, but if you like this movie, which it seems like there's people who really do like this movie, definitely comment and tell me what you thought about this movie. So that was my review for Spiral from the Book of Saw. And I will see y'all in the next video. Peace.